Welcome to the Sideload, where we are throwing our windows open and celebrating some early spring weather. I'm your host, Will Sattelberg. Today, I am thrilled to welcome Ben Schoon back to the show. He just got back from Mobile World Congress over the weekend, so we are going to talk about everything he saw at the show floor, from robot phones that you can technically buy at some point to concept phones that might become a real product someday. We get a little bit into the weeds on the state of foldables and why we don't have larger foldable devices, as well as ask TCL to please launch their NXTPAPER technology on a device we actually want to buy. Also, we play a quick round of Guess the Phone because I wanted to see if Ben could stand up to the smack talk he was throwing at Joe Maring's way a couple of weeks ago. It's all coming up right after this word from our sponsor, NordVPN. You know when you connect to a public Wi-Fi network and your computer asks if you trust this network? The correct answer should be absolutely not. Airports, hotels, and coffee shops are convenient places to find Wi-Fi, but they're also the easiest place for your data to get watched, intercepted, or quietly scraped. NordVPN helps fix that by encrypting your internet traffic so what you're doing online isn't just floating around the network. With over 9,000 VPN servers covering more than 188 locations, it's built to stay fast, so you're not stuck choosing between security and a usable connection. Plus, it comes with features that actually matter to your day-to-day life, including threat protection to block malicious sites and trackers, and a built-in kill switch that helps prevent accidental leaks should your VPN connection drop. If you want to stop risking your data on public Wi-Fi, you can save up to 77% on a 2-year subscription, plus score 4 extra months and a free Amazon gift card just by going to nordvpn.com/9to5off and signing up for a 2-year subscription. That's nordvpn.com/9to5off to claim this offer. I am thrilled once again to welcome Ben Schoon to the show, here to talk about his recent trip to Mobile World Congress, because world's biggest tech show. I didn't get to go this year. So Ben is here to fill in my FOMO, any FOMO I might have. Welcome to the show, Ben.
Thanks for having me.
And you, of course, had no issues going or going to MWC or coming back, right? It was smooth sailing travel-wise, absolutely no problems that perhaps got upvoted on the Delta subreddit.
Oh, man. No, I'm totally still not exhausted from being stuck in Atlanta for 12 hours.
You were awake coming back for 25 hours. Is that correct?
It was 25 hours when I landed at my home airport.
Man.
Yeah.
Brutal.
No, it was
brutal stuff.
It was wild.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. We're thrilled to have you back in your house because you were not there for all of like 2 weeks. So yeah. It's nice to see you back at your usual desk. I'm gonna use your roundup of the best of Mobile World Congress 2026 as a jumping off point, and then maybe we'll hit some stuff that isn't on this list in the back half. But I think this is the easiest way to talk about the stuff that you thought was most exciting. And so let's start with your first award, which was most impactful launch. That's Snapdragon Wear Elite. So this is our first wearable chipset in from Qualcomm in how long? Like 4 years, 3 years, something like that, right? It's been
It's the first real update. Like we did have the
W5 Gen 2 was announced last year, but that was not really a new thing.
Yeah. No, Snapdragon Wear Elite looks like a pretty big update. It's not based on like the Orion or anything, but it's a new process. It's a new architecture. It's the first one with the big dot little, which is, could be a big deal. It sounds like it's going to be a big deal performance wise and, AI compute wise, if you care about that. I was looking at this one, and the reason I think it's the most impactful is just because like we've never had so much immediate good news about a chipset, especially for Wear OS. Like Google is immediately saying, they're going to like basically redesign Wear OS around this chip.
Okay.
And Samsung, which has historically used Exynos every single Galaxy Watch. Just like casually mentioned, hey, the next Galaxy Watch is going to use a Snapdragon chip. That's a really big deal. It shows that, like, yeah, this is a big jump.
What do you expect to see come out of Wear OS with this bump in horsepower? Like, let's look at it from a Galaxy Watch perspective, maybe, because I want to talk about the Pixel Watch in a second.
Yeah, I would have to imagine that the main thing that everyone's looking at with this is AI, is on-device AI, because there is really not much of that now on like current Wear OS, current Samsung watches, wearables of any kind, really. It's all offloaded. So I could see the potential of new things. I don't know what that looks like yet, though.
Yeah, it's tricky to, I guess, think about, because so much of AI and this is calling back maybe to the conversation I had with Daniel Bader last week, but like so much of AI is talked about in these hypothetical situations that it is tricky for me to ask you, Ben, somebody who's not working on these projects, but is just covering them from a news angle of like what this could be, because we kind of need Google to paint a picture for us, right?
Yeah.
Like it's difficult for me to guess, especially on watches, which have been so historically underpowered at all but the most basic, sounds like I'm undercutting it, but the most basic of tasks.
Yeah, no, Google's very small painting a picture was they want to reimagine the smartwatch experience and moving from an operating system to an always with you intelligent system that understands and works for you, which is a whole bunch of AI marketing. But I would be all for a more powerful chip that lets the AI be more proactive on my watch. Because right now I feel like the smartwatch is very reactive.
Yeah.
And I miss the days of like early Android Wear, where it was completely built around the proactive experience.
What kind of proactive experiences would you say you're looking for?
Well, like I remember the original Android Wear, it was, through the day, the Google Now cards would change based on what you had going. Again, who knows what that looks like now? But I would love to see maybe changes in maybe automatic health tracking. Because right now, we have automatic, the Pixel Watch will start tracking if it detects you on a walk or bike ride or whatever. But maybe it could change more to the experience based on just what you're doing and where you are.
So on the Pixel Watch side of this, if Google is saying that this chip is kind of inspiring them to rethink Wear OS in general, do we think Google is sticking with Qualcomm, with Snapdragon on watches, or are they working on something for their own watch in the same way that they have on? I guess that's my question, right? Because I've spent the last few years being like, well, Google is, I assume, eventually going to work up to like Tensor across as many platforms as they can, as it becomes more and more of their own chipset, of their own identity and associated with their hardware identity. And like, where does that come in terms of like watches? Because I don't know. I guess it's tricky. I guess when something so readily available is like Qualcomm has already done the hard work in optimizing this chip for what they want it to do. Does it just make sense for Google to grab this and stick with Qualcomm on the wearable side, even though they're not using them on their phone side?
Yeah. So I think Tensor's whole goal, or Google's goal with Tensor, has really been they want to develop a chip that's focused on what they want to do. And I think that's mainly because Qualcomm's not focused on the exact same things Google is. On a smartwatch, it's probably a little easier because, you're not doing as much on device. So if Qualcomm has an offering here that, it sounds like Google is excited about, I don't see why they wouldn't just stick with Qualcomm, because it's not, if Qualcomm hadn't done this, we went back to another situation where, we're waiting 5 years for a new Wear OS chip. I could 100% see Google saying, okay, no, we're not waiting. We're just going to do our own. But Qualcomm's keeping up lately. And yeah, this seems like a no-brainer to me. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I'm so curious to see what enthusiasts, what like Pixel fans feel of that, because so many Pixel fans are so like exhausted by Tensor at the moment, whether or not you agree with them. I don't really have many issues with Tensor as it exists at the moment for what I need a smartphone for, but I understand that people see the benchmarks and the power supplied by Snapdragon chipsets and want that paired with the Pixel experience. And I am just curious if when we see the Pixel Watch 5 launch in October or whatever with a newer Snapdragon chipset, with this new Snapdragon chipset, while they're still looking at Tensor G6. I don't know. I there's no real answer there. It's just interesting to think about like the different audience segments and how these people pair together.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's move on to real like a tangible product, because you'll never be able to hold the Snapdragon Wear Elite in your hands. The Honor Magic V6, I feel like so much of what's happening in phones this year that is exciting revolves around foldables. I think non-foldables are probably the most boring they've ever been, and foldables have really taken your general flagship spot in terms of the thing people are looking towards to see something exciting and new. And it's been that way for a few years, but as we approach on basically every device manufacturer now having a chassis that is 10 millimeters or less for the most part, which is much more usable than it was a couple generations ago, and then the crease is dying off, and so on and so forth. These compromises that we've made, that early adopters had made, are quickly going by the wayside. Tell me about the Honor Magic V6. What makes this? What made this shine, I guess, among everything else at Mobile World Congress?
Yeah, so the Honor Magic V6, Honor, first of all, is just like a super underrated brand in terms of hardware. I'm not the biggest fan of their software. It's a typical Chinese Android skin. It's heavy. It's got some iOS inspiration. So software is not I'm not the biggest fan of, but hardware, I think they're objectively impressive. And the Magic V6 it's a foldable that, to me, it's not at a glance like that big of a difference from the V5 that was released also less than 6 months ago. It's the same core spec sheet, bumped up to the Elite Gen 5, all that. It's also IP6869, which is a first, which is nice to see that expanding. Yeah. But to me, the biggest thing about the V6 is that Honor's been the brand that's been like chasing. We want to be the thinnest foldable on the market. They've been chasing that for 3-4 generations now. In my opinion, a little to their detriment, because they've always been good with battery life and specs, but they were so obsessed with thinness that was the only thing they were ever talking about. Yeah. The Magic V6 is not, it's not focused on thinness. It was really not a point in their launch event in anything. The focus here is the battery, which is 6,660 milliamp hours. And that is, for a foldable, insane.
For any phone, it's insane. Like that's, for any phone, especially from our shared US perspective. Yes. It's like you'd kill for this. I mean, like, I reviewed the OnePlus 13, a few months ago, and it was very similar, where it's like these unheard of or once unheard of battery, configurations that are suddenly like mainstream, and you use them and you're like, this dramatically changes how I use a phone. And I would imagine that's more true, if anything, for foldables, because it transforms it from something that you are, maybe splitting your time between displays or really thinking about like, well, it's 8 p.m. and I'm at 20%. So I probably should just stick to, the outer display on my Galaxy Z Fold 7 to, who cares? I will just keep this thing open all the time when I need it, because this battery is so big that it's 8 p.m. and I'm at 65% or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, no. And, it's too early to do a full review. The Magic V6 is going on sale in China here soon, but the rest of the world won't get it for a little bit. Yeah. But I think I'm allowed to say that, yes, the battery life was great when I was using it.
Yeah.
Which, how could it not be? But yeah, so Honor's been doing, the whole silicon carbon thing for a few years now. They're getting very good at it. One of their whole points with the V6 is that they're using blade silicon batteries, which are like the size of a playing card.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an impressive device. And it's nice to see something that good and that advanced, not only being announced at MWC, but also like going on sale imminently. And that's part of the reason it was our best new product award, is because so much of everything else we saw at MWC was concept or, coming out in several months or, coming soon, etc.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the batteries real quick, actually. I guess the battery tech. Are we kind of reaching this pivot point? And maybe I'm a little too early, so you tell me, because you've been kind of at the forefront of this. Are we reaching this pivot point where companies like Samsung that have, largely speaking, played it safe on battery technology or stuck to what they're familiar with, and it's not just them, it's Google too. It's pretty much every North American phone company, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Are these companies no longer just playing it safe and waiting for the technology to be ready? Are they kind of falling, are we reaching to the point where the technology is ready and these companies are now more in the boat of late to the party as opposed to playing it safe?
So I think there's a couple of things at play. I think one of them, is battery tech is a very important thing to get right, because if it goes wrong,
you get the Galaxy Note 7.
It goes really wrong.
It goes I had a Galaxy S7 Edge in 2020 or 2016. And it was my first time that October. It was my first time flying in age. I think really it was my first time kind of like flying as an adult, right? Not that it was my first time flying alone, but it was probably my first time, being on a plane that wasn't like with a group or with my family when I was younger and so on. And I remember like this Note 7 thing was actively happening. And I remember being like, I'm going to show them my boarding pass on my phone and they're going to be like that. Cause it looked so much, looked so much like the Note 7 that it was just a curvier Note 7. And it's like, they're going to be like, I don't think you're supposed to be flying with that. I think that's banned right now. Yeah. And like, that didn't happen. But I remember being like, that's not a feeling you want to add on to like already existing airport stress. Again, a thing nothing about.
So no, silicon carbon, they have to get it right before it's mass adoption. Also, the other thing to keep in mind is the scale. Like, Samsung and Apple are playing this game at a completely different level than Honor and Oppo and all these other brands who are using silicon carbon in everything. Yeah. So I think it's fair. I think 1 or 2 more years, 1 or 2 more generations, I think it's fine if they don't adopt it yet. Give it time, get it right. That said, I am still very impressed by silicon carbon and hope we see it more frequently. Yeah. And then the other difficult part of this is that there are regulations, especially in the US, around battery capacity and shipping. That makes it really hard to go beyond basically like the 5,000 to 5,200 that we've been at recently. Once you go past that, it becomes a lot more complicated. That's why like the OnePlus 13 and the OnePlus 15, what are they? They're around 6,000 each.
I believe the OnePlus 13 is 5,500 and the 15 is 6,000.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
Either way, with the capacities, the reason they were allowed to do that is because the battery is a dual cell, so it's literally split in half. The regulation is around not the total capacity, but the capacity of each cell.
Right.
That's
the thing that does benefit foldables, though, because foldables already, Samsung's no stranger to this, as far as I'm aware, that they often have to, like, especially on the Flip too, have to split these batteries into 2 pieces to just for space, constraints. So Samsung has experience in that. They could build around it, but I agree. It is a scale thing first and foremost. And then also, a consideration of the North American market that Honor does not have to worry about.
Correct. Yeah. So I look forward to the day it comes more. I think Honor's proving that, this is something that everyone needs to be looking at. Yeah. But we're just gonna have to wait. And I think we're right to wait.
Magic V6 is not among the crop of foldables we have coming here that does not have a crease, correct? This phone still has a noticeable
It still
crease.
has a crease, but it is a very minimal crease. It's like, if we go back a couple of years to like the OnePlus Open versus the Samsung, whatever fold it was at the time, the 4 or 5, whichever one it was. I want to say 5.
5.
It's like comparing those two. It's like if I took my Fold 7 and put it next to a Magic V6, the V6 is very clearly a lot better. Okay. But it's also not there. That's supposedly what we're going to see from the Oppo Find N6 here in the next week.
Yeah. And if the timeline sticks, the V7 should launch in June. I'm kidding. That's a joke. I'm just making a joke.
I'm actually pretty sure it's supposed to come before the end of the year. Okay.
Well, that everyone I would not be surprised about, especially with when Qualcomm announces their chipsets, like that is so. The Chinese OEMs especially have kind of just adopted being like, we're not even going to wait the second that chipset's announced, like we're going to market. Yeah. And like maybe if we are a OnePlus and we're going to North America at some point, that's down the road. But like, I would not be shocked at all if we see an Honor Magic V7 launch with a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 in November. Wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, no, especially because everyone's also been going in on the whole like wide fold thing to get with the iPhone.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we see another Magic of some kind before the end of the year.
Not Google, though, as we saw in today's leak.
Yes.
Not Google. Sticking with not returning to the thing that they started. Great job, guys. Whatever, it's a decision. I argued at the time that Google was being too quick to drop that form factor, that was not the issue with that phone. But here we are. Yep. Let's talk a little bit. Now, this is a concept, which is largely speaking a lot of what you see at MWC these days, and CES to a lesser extent, but certainly Mobile World Congress has plenty of concepts. Tell me about Lenovo's Legion Go Fold.
So the Legion Go Fold is, I think, one of the most clever ideas we've seen in foldables in a bit. What it is it's a like Steam Deck style gaming handheld. That has a foldable display that outwardly folds from the 7.7 default to an 11.6 inch display. It is a very early concept. But it has like Switch 2 style controllers that can dock on the side of the display when it's small, or you can take them off and put them on the other side so you can use the 11.6 as a giant handheld. And their other idea was to make a dock so you can use the whole thing with a keyboard and trackpad as a laptop, because it's, ultimately just a Windows 11 computer. I think this is a really good idea. I think the base idea is very good. I think they need to figure out a better way to protect the display. I would rather see like a Galaxy Fold type setup where it closes an inner display and has an outer display. But either way, they're on the right track with the inspiration here. I think it's a great idea. And I think this is the kind of stuff I've been waiting to see in foldables. It feels like we've literally just focused on, we can make a smartphone, and then we can make a smartphone that folds in half. Yeah. Nobody's trying, we've seen a couple laptops, but nobody's trying other form factors and other categories. Gaming is a good one. And I would also love to see more tablets, because I picked this thing up and I'm like, yes, 7.7 inch tablet. Great. Unfold it to an 11.6 inch when I need it. Even better. It's crazy that doesn't exist.
I fully agree with you, because I've been saying this for like 2 years that there should be a tablet that combines like an iPad mini style sized outer screen with something, twice as big on the inside. Yeah. Because I think I'd rather have that than, and maybe this changes with the wide, foldables that we're supposedly getting later this year. But like, I've used plenty of these, roughly 8 inch, roughly 1x1 foldable, display, like folding phones. And they're nice and they're novel. And you swear by your Fold 7, Ben, but like, to me, the thing I want is actually more of a device that can be used it is not something I'm putting in my pocket maybe, but something that takes up not a ton of space in my bag, but becomes this expansive. I mean, in a world where Samsung will not stop pushing 15-inch tablets, can we get something that is 15 inches on the inside, but actually only like 8 inches on the outside? Like I would much prefer that, or at the very least would be tempted to pair that with like a more traditional smartphone, because I can more quickly see how that would impact like how I'm using the device. And that's true of the Legion Go Fold too, where I'm like, I see this and I'm like, yeah, I get it immediately. And not that there aren't issues, as you're saying, like the decision to keep it on the screen is like fully on the outside. And so those fairly fragile components are always, it's not like a glass. Yeah. It's not a glass panel.
Yeah.
There are, I'm sure, was it heavy? I'm sure it was at least a little heavy.
No, actually it was pretty light.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think the core idea here and the implementation they have so far is good. I just think that, the core problem is durability.
Yeah. And that's going to be an issue with foldables in general, but you see this and you're like, well, I immediately, in a way that like, I don't think is completely obvious on our current slate of foldables, I see how this changes how I use even just a Steam Deck, for example.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, I see the advantage to using this over a Steam Deck.
Yeah, because the 7-8 inch handheld, everyone gets it, everyone likes that.
Yeah.
But an 11.6 inch one would be absurd. No one's gonna buy that.
Right.
But they would love to have the option from time to time.
Right.
And this works great. And again, tablet, just I want a tablet that does the same thing.
I really thought we would have it by now.
Yeah,
I'm like genuinely stumped, because especially in a world where tablets are like have been out of ideas for a decade. Like when was the last time it was like when we decided that tablets would follow in the footsteps of phones and reduce their bezels to nothing. That was the last time we saw like any kind of like leap in tablet. I mean, we're looking at the better part of a decade where every tablet is a rounded rectangle with rounded corners and a big display. And that's it. And the display keeps getting better and brighter. And the chassis keeps getting slimmer, but that's it. Like that is where we've been with tablets. And I think it's astounding, especially with how expensive these things are, to not implement some kind of, even just to like give it a shot. Right. And like you can see with the trifold, there is demand for this sort of like device size, like this idea of a 11 inch display that can fold into something smaller. I don't think it always needs to be a trifold or even a smartphone. Like I would love to I really hope we are not far off from seeing just foldable tablets, because I think there is like an obvious market for it.
Yeah, my like best guess as to why we haven't is just because of like the whole keyboard idea is I think, a foldable tablet doesn't work very well with like a book style keyboard situation, like the Magic Keyboard on the iPad or Samsung's book cover. But also like there are probably still people who just want to use it as a media consumption device and would be perfectly fine just carrying another keyboard when they need it.
I would say like if that's what's coming, and I think that's like a solid theory, but if that is what's keeping these devices from being made, what I would tell CEOs of these companies is like, it doesn't matter. Like just make, either make like a more traditional, like just keyboard with like a stand in front of it that isn't like a full laptop solution, or make it something that you're like, yeah, you know what? The way this one works is that you have to have the display folded fully open to use it. But that's it. Like, I think there's ways around it where you can design that for people who really want it, and we'll have to just live with the downgrades from having it like that. But at the same time, I think you'll sell more. Like I probably would buy something like this, but wouldn't buy a keyboard for it. And they're losing out on my money by not just making it. Yeah. I hope we're not far away from this, but the Legion Go Fold, I mean, like Lenovo is one of those companies that is, I would say, fairly good about taking concept devices and eventually making them a reality. They don't do it with everything, but
in some capacity, at least.
In some capacity, these technologies tend to trickle into something new. I mean, we've seen that they are obsessed with like, these laptop designs that are built to change shape, right? Like this feels very in line with that. So I hope we see something come out of this in the next couple of years. Anything. So that's your roundup. What else stuck out to you at the show?
So as you're well aware, I love tiny Android tablets. On the note of tablets, Lenovo's new Legion Tab looks great. Better screen, bigger battery. It comes in a very bright green color. It's $850. Easily the biggest show of everything is more expensive that we, I think,
what was the last one like $549?
It got a $300 price hike, basically because it has 4 extra gigabytes of RAM. Yeah, I mean, it's wild. That we're in trouble. Tough. Yeah. That's what I would say. It's tough.
I look at this. I saw your headline for this. I had two knee-jerk reactions, which was I saw your hero image of the lime green color, and I went like, "Ooh, I like that. That's so different than usual." Especially among gaming products.
Also, it's 9 to 5 Google Green. Just saying,
it is almost exactly the color of our website. Awesome. And then in your headline, I saw $850, and I said like, "Well,
nope,
no, like pass." Hopefully you can get that price back down in a couple of years, but I'm not that is absolutely ridiculous for a tablet. Even one with flagship specs like this, like it's I wouldn't spend that much on any tablet, except for maybe the foldable tablet I'm describing. Yes. But otherwise, like that is such a tricky trade-off.
I bought the original Legion Tab the day I saw it.
You did. I think you bought 2.
I definitely will not be buying this. Lenovo's last Lenovo thing was they had a ThinkBook concept. It had like framework style detachable ports. You could rip the keyboard off and put a display in its place. Really cool idea. I hope they bring that to market in some capacity as well. Yeah. The robot phone from Honor was at the show. I still can't touch it, so I still don't know. I still don't say it exists. Until
can you describe what this is supposed to be to me?
The robot phone is a phone with a gimbal on the back.
Okay.
If that's all they were saying, it would be really cool. But they're calling it a robot phone because like you're supposed to put it down on the desk and the gimbal will flip up and start looking around the room and like you can ask it questions and it'll react. And like the camera will like move around like a little robot to shake its head or dance to music or whatever. It's such a weird little concept that the gimbal is genuine functionality. I like that idea. They haven't given a good pitch for what is useful for beyond it being a gimbal, and also they haven't let anyone do anything with it. It's just been behind glass or behind security guards. So we'll see. I am glad they're trying new things, but right now it just kind of feels like more of a gimmick than anything, which is saying something considering they had, a robot dancing to Imagine Dragons at the same show.
This phone is like the nadir of everything I don't like in like modern technology, which is to say it's like a silly concept that doesn't like, it's like, it doesn't immediately demonstrate how it's supposed to help you. And you're like, okay, that's fine. Not every gadget needs to immediately demonstrate how it's helping you. They should, and they're better if they do. I mean, like there is a reason, we are 10 years on nearly 20 years on from the original iPhone announcement, and everybody remembers Steve Jobs being like a telephone, no, see, now I don't remember the 3: telephone, iPod, and internet communication device, right? Like that's right. And he said it on stage like 8 times, and he was like, "Are you getting it?" And everybody was like, "Yeah, I get it. It's those 3 things in one." And you could see how that would solve your issue, things in your life. Not so much with the gimbal and the camera. My second thing would be, okay, so this is supposed to be able to like look around the room and follow your movements. all of this, and it obviously syncs with onboard AI to be able to talk to you or to recognize things in the room. And you're like, okay, I see how this is like adapting to modern trends. Has anybody asked for this? And it's like, no, not really. It's like, okay. And the whole thing about phones is that they're supposed to be like kind of always on you, right? So we'll just set this one in the middle of the room. Like, I don't, when is that supposed, when am I putting my phone over in a corner so that I can talk to it?
My thing about this phone genuinely is, try a new thing. Cool. Love it. But if you have to tease it to me for 6 months, because we've been hearing about this phone for like 6 months now, and 6 months in, I still don't know what it's supposed to do. Maybe you didn't. Maybe we need to keep working on this.
Yeah.
Like
Honor's explanation that you posted in your story about this is robot phone is designed to help users move beyond capturing moments and toward capturing life stories, which doesn't mean anything, but that's fine. It doesn't like
I really hope that I really hope when this releases, which it's only going to be released in China at first, regardless. I really hope that when it does land, it has a actual here's two good things that it's really good for, and that it's compelling. Because I would love to see more things like this, more unique hardware.
My big issue honestly isn't even with the idea in general, although my issue is that they don't have an idea, it seems, but like more than anything, this shouldn't be a phone. Like this is not what people use their phones for.
It feels more like a tablet kind of.
A tablet with a docking mechanism similar to the Pixel tablet, which I maintain, good idea, horribly executed.
Correct.
Would work really well with this, or at the very least would make a lot more sense, where it's like, okay, when I'm not actively using my tablet, I can put it in this magnetic dock in the corner and it becomes this little robot assistant buddy that like follows my movements, and that's definitely not creepy, and I'm not creeped out about that. But I at least see more of I see people doing that with a tablet in a way that I don't with a phone. And so I guess for me, it's like cool technology, but on its face, this just feels like a flawed idea in general. And they're bringing it to market, which, good.
Yeah. Well,
good luck.
We will have to wait and see if it works out. The last three things.
Yes. Go for it.
That were at the show, Razer Fold, we got specs. It looks great. 6,000 milliamp hour battery is awesome.
Yeah.
The software looks really good. It's going to be €2,000, which is not so good.
No, no, it's not,
because it's not even an elite processor. It's the step down Gen 5.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see on that one. I got to try out the Android XR prototype glasses for the first time. I know, we've heard about those because they demoed them in I/O and other places, but that was my first time. I love them. I can't wait for that to be released. I'm looking forward to that a lot. And then the last thing was our last other award, which was the TCL NXTPAPER AMOLED. Not really proof of concept, but just like demo, because they don't have an actual device to release with it yet.
Tell me about this, because I know you were excited about NXTPAPER.
Yeah, NXTPAPER, I've always really liked. Their whole overarching pitch is, it's better for your eyes. But for me, it's just, it's a really, really good built-in matte finish on the display, combined with it genuinely looks good because of all the eye care enhancements that they've made to it.
Yeah.
But I think my biggest complaint has been, besides the fact that TCL refuses to make anything with a decent chip and RAM combo using this tech.
Hold on. Let's pause. It is so frustrating to me as somebody who has held NXTPAPER devices in my hands across several different, events, multiple CESs, multiple Mobile World Congresses. I have held tablets and phones running this technology and thought to myself, this is cool. This is awesome. And largely speaking, I could not imagine using those devices as a daily driver. Just on raw on sheer specs alone. It's like a problem that it doesn't even make me want to be like, TCL, make a real flagship, because I understand that there are like lots of issues in doing that, and whether the market's there, and even if it was, is it there in North America? Probably not, as we've seen with any company that isn't named Samsung for the most part. I would love to see TCL like license this though, because I want to see it on something
that'd be cool
that I can buy, and I think it's so weird to me that outside of the last couple Galaxy S20 whatever Ultra models, we have not really seen massive improvements or massive changes to display technology that are designed to make it to make these displays more comfortable to use, more legible in brighter situations. In the case of the S26 Ultra's display, more private. But even before that, I'm more talking about the Gorilla. Oh my God, Ben, help me out. Gorilla
Armor.
Is it Gorilla Armor? The Gorilla Armor
anti-reflective one?
Yeah, it's so nice. And Samsung has refused to bring it
Put it on anything else, and took it away on the S26 Ultra.
Right, including the S26 Plus and regular S26, which got $100 price bumps. And it's like, do you know what maybe could have like papered over that a little bit, is if you brought that display technology to the cheaper models, but they didn't. They didn't even do that. So I it's so frustrating to me that we're not seeing advancements where we could easily see advancements that would make people maybe complain a little bit less about like the boring state of smartphones.
Yeah. But anyway, NXTPAPER, the biggest problem I always had with it was that it's IPS LCD underneath, which IPS LCD is fine. But now it's AMOLED. So that was their proof of concept, is they put an AMOLED panel behind it, and it was genuinely beautiful in person. Like, it is sharper. It is so much brighter. Like, you can even see in pictures of it side by side with their latest NXTPAPER phone that's still on IPS. It's so much better. Me and Damien walked into that booth, just, we were just like, oh, let's just stop by and see it, because we had heard about it, but we hadn't really looked into it yet. And we both walked in, saw it, walked over to it, and we're like, okay, this is incredible. I want them to put it on. First of all, I don't want it on a phone. I don't know why TCL keeps putting NXTPAPER on a phone, because I like putting screen protectors on my phone, because I don't want them to get all damaged, and I feel like damage would be even more noticeable on a matte display.
Probably.
So I don't want NXTPAPER on a phone. I don't get why they're obsessed with doing that. If TCL will ever release a NXTPAPER tablet somewhere between like 9 and 11 inches with this AMOLED tech and at least a halfway decent set of specs, I will buy it. No questions asked. Because I really, really do love NXTPAPER. I have they released an 8-inch NXTPAPER tablet last year. I have it here in my office. It's what I was asking for like the past 3 years. I turned it on. I set it up. It lagged the whole way through setup. It cannot even handle opening the app drawer.
Oh my God.
It has been turned off on my shelf ever since for like 3 months, because I cannot get myself to use it.
It's so interesting that the patience I have for lag is like non-zero at this point. Like, if I set something up and it's already lagging, I'm like, and I won't name names, but like you and I like had talked about, there was something I was testing. There was a product I was testing that I was just unusably laggy, and I was like, I don't even know if I can review this, because like it's not even that I can write a negative review of it. It's like I can't even get this product to like do the things it's supposed to do, so I can't tell you if it's good or not, because it just won't stop lagging. And that's the same with this tablet apparently. With it's I get the budget space is wide open, but give it a little bit of horsepower.
Yeah, my thing about TCL on the low end is they, low end devices need to exist. That is 100% true. And it's okay for them to have compromises, but I don't get how you can ship a product that's like basically unusable. But also, I don't understand why TCL, they've put all this work into these mobile displays, into NXTPAPER, and just, displays in general. TCL's the second most popular TV
They're
manufacturer
huge,
in the world. They are built
and probably about to be number one because they're buying Sony's business. Like they're growing. Yeah.
They have built such a reputation around displays. There's no reason they shouldn't be making incredible mobile displays on phones and tablets. Arguably they are. But if you don't put out a product that's like usable, or, you know, even more so, they should just have some flagship product, something mid to high end, like at least Pixel 10a level.
Yeah.
That goes a long way in like showing, you know, we're not only putting, you know, we want to let you experience our display technology in a good way. Yeah, it's all that is to say, NXTPAPER AMOLED, amazing display technology. I just really hope they put a decent phone, or more specifically, a decent tablet behind it. I'm just not confident that they will.
It's time. I really hope that next year at next year's CES there is a device there that is. Your 10A comparison is perfect because like that is a device that I would recommend to almost anybody, you know, aside from a couple very specific enthusiast types. And like if TCL can just make like, and I'm going to use a pre-RAM shortage price point here, but like a $400 tablet that can like skate through like normal tasks, video playback, TikTok, basic web browsing, some very generic mobile games, like with this technology, I would buy it. Like I would buy it, make it $600 and make the display better. Like I would still buy that, but it just needs to be like, it just needs to be good enough to hit those tasks. And I hope they do it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, if you want to compare it to like just something on the market right now, Nothing Phone 4A specs, just throw that into a tablet, make it $400. Cool.
There you go.
It would, I think, actually be successful because it's unique.
Yeah. That's Mobile World Congress, right? I mean, was it a good show? Did you have a nice time?
Yeah.
Compared to past years?
It definitely wasn't as busy as some past years have been, but it also wasn't like slow. It wasn't like, you know, there have been a few CESs in recent years that have been like, there's really nothing happening.
Yeah.
But no, this was a good show. There was enough to be excited about.
Well, thank you, Ben, for suffering through true travel hell to come back and tell us all about everything in Barcelona. I want to end the show with the second appearance, the next appearance of Guess That Phone, America's favorite game show, according to listeners of this podcast. I want to do this, Ben, because you when you listened to my episode a couple weeks ago with Joe Maring on it, doing his own run at a full list of these phones, you were texting your guesses in a group chat with the two of us and completely trounced Joe, as I said in the credits of a different episode. So I'm dying to know how you do on your own. This is a mini segment. I've picked three phones. Same process as last time. I will give you some very basic clues. If you need more hints, I will give you some highlight features. And if you need more, I will give you the OEM. 3 points, 2 points, 1 point for each of those. We'll see how you do. I will say in the pre-show, before we hit record, you told me that two of these, based on the generic date range I gave you, are not from when you were following technology. So I'm really excited to see how you do, because I tried to make this pretty hard. I picked some hard devices, I would say. So we're going to start with the easiest first. This phone came out on November 21st, 2012. It is powered by a Snapdragon S4 Pro processor. It is 9.7 millimeters thick. It's 142 grams. It features a 5-inch 1080p Super LCD display, and it launched with Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, last updated to Android 4.2 Jelly Bean. Any guesses?
You gonna give me that date again? November what?
Yeah, November 21st, 2012.
Phew. No, I got nothing coming to mind on that one.
Absolutely fine. I had a feeling. Here's some highlighted features. So that display is a rare 1080p 5-inch display in 2012. That was not commonplace yet. So that's a big draw of this particular. I almost said it. I almost said the name. This particular device. You got to remember we're only on the 2nd gen Galaxy Note at this point. So, a 5-inch screen that's getting up there.
Yeah.
It's got a soft touch rubbery coating that I saw called out in a lot of reviews. And speaking of, according to an unsourced quote from this OEM in a of the time CNET review, its design was inspired by Lamborghini. So.
Oh man, now that actually is ringing bells.
But it is not a Lamborghini. It is not a car branded phone. I want to be clear. It is not like one of those Lamborghini editions or whatever. It is this was a mainstream device sold. This was a carrier exclusive. This was back when every device was a carrier exclusive, but it was sold in a North American carrier store as a flagship device.
Oh man. No, you're making this tough.
I look, you were very pleased with yourself. You were very happy with how you did.
Let's be fair for a moment. I'm 2 days off of getting home from 2 weeks of travel and being stuck in an airport for 12 hours.
The excuses have begun, folks. Do you want the manufacturer?
November 2012, 5-inch at 1080p, Snapdragon S4 Pro. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I am completely blanking on it.
I had forgotten this phone existed. So
yeah, go ahead. Go.
This is an HTC device.
Oh, okay. See, now I was not thinking HTC. Oh. No, my memory of HTC is not good.
It's fine.
So
that's
I'm
fine.
not going to get
Here we
that.
go. This is the HTC Droid DNA, a Verizon wireless exclusive.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you remember the Droid DNA?
I cannot picture it in my head right now. That is going back a long time.
Oh yeah. Well, I had to make this hard on you. Here we go. Here is a image for you, Ben.
Yep. I remember it now, but wow.
Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about with
the Beats audio might have helped.
I feel like Beats audio would have just given away the HTC part of it. But I don't know. Maybe it would have. But this is not a phone I remember super well, even though I kind of dig the look of it. I will say.
Yeah, black and red.
I don't see Lamborghini.
No,
but I do. I guess I see generic sports car vibes. I like the red highlights. HTC made good phones at the time. I would say that's the easiest of the three. Here's the next one.
Great.
Don't worry. This one you covered on 9to5google.com. I found at least one article that had your byline on it that referenced to this phone. This device was released on July 27th, 2016. It is powered by a Snapdragon 820. It is 7.9 millimeters, 175 grams, a 5.4 inch 1440p AMOLED display. It launched on Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow, last upgraded to Android 8.0 Oreo.
So July 2016.
Yeah.
Right,
Pokemon Go taking the nation by storm.
It's also pre-Pixel is what I was thinking.
Pre-Pixel. Pixel is not launched yet.
What was the display size again? 5.4?
5.4 inch 1440p AMOLED display.
Timeline wise, my brain is going LG, but I don't feel confident in that. So let's go for some features.
Okay. Some highlighted features include flagship specs at a surprisingly cheap price point of $450 for this. It also included 6 gigabytes of RAM, which was a lot at the time for a smartphone, especially for a $450 smartphone. And it had front-facing speakers that were reminiscent of the boom sound speakers once used by HTC. It also included Daydream support as a result of that high-res AMOLED display. Big feature was the price, though.
You said 450?
Yes, $450.
I'm wanting to say, no, that didn't. Did that have front facing?
What are you thinking? What are you working through?
My brain's thinking OnePlus 2, but I don't think that had front facing speakers.
It's tempting.
Man, you found some really, really tough ones.
Do you want the manufacturer?
Yeah.
This is a ZTE device.
Oh, God. Is this... It's one of those Axon devices, isn't it?
What is the model, Ben?
I can't remember the model. This isn't this like the first phone I reviewed for 9 to 5? No,
it might be.
That was a bigger one.
I'm not sure. I did find I found a like July 2016 buyer's guide you wrote that included this as a pick.
Did I review it?
I don't know if you reviewed it.
Okay, well then
I didn't dig that deep.
I don't remember the model name. I'm pretty sure it was a ZTE Axon device.
You're right there. It is the ZTE Axon 7. Is the device.
Axon 7. It kind of looked like an HTC phone, didn't it? I'm vaguely remembering. Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. This is like the ZTE or the HTC clone.
Yeah, it was very HTC reminiscent. Yes.
Yeah, I remember this.
You were right there.
I was thinking of there was a mid-range ZTE I reviewed, I think that same year, that was front-facing speakers and basically this same design, except it was like plastic.
ZTE is just one of those brands that is so easy to memory hole, especially in North America. I remember their phones. I actually never got to use this one though. I think I wrote about it hoping they would send me one. Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, it was like just judging by the specs, and I agree with you. It is a full like HTC clone with the, except for the fact that it's got like a fingerprint sensor in the back. But the specs are solid for the price. Yeah. I agree, but for the time. But okay, here we go. There's no shot you get this. This is a weird one. This is a weird one that is just burned into my own memory, and I've been saved. I was gonna save it, but I'm just gonna burn it on you. This phone launched on April 17th, 2011. So just where were you in April of 2011?
Was I even? Yeah, I was high school.
Same. Yeah, same. It was powered by a Snapdragon S1 with a whopping 1 gigahertz clock speed. It's pretty fast. It was 17.2 millimeters thick, 193 grams. I want to say that again, 17 millimeters thick. It featured dual 3.5-inch 480p displays that are capable of combining into tablet mode to create one 4.7-inch unified panel. And it launched on Android 2.2 Froyo, upgraded to Android 2.3 Gingerbread.
I think I know which phone this is.
Okay.
But you could not get me to guess the name of it. For added context, my first Android device was the Nexus 7, which was a year after this. So
oh my God.
Do not know.
I had an Android phone at this point, but had only had one. I had my Thunderbolt, but that was only like a month or two old at this point. Yeah.
I remember a ZTE phone that had this exact same setup. I don't remember if it was in 2011 though.
Do you want some? I don't know if the highlighted features will
it's
help you,
worth a shot. I have something in mind.
So obviously everything I'm going to talk about was basically that aforementioned dual screen, which also utilized a couple different modes, including something called Simultask, which would allow two discrete apps to run essentially simultaneously, but they would hibernate one of them because it was 2011 and this was running on a Snapdragon S1 chipset. And then you could also do an optimized mode where it was one app across both screens, and it would show like your inbox and your compose screen like across the two different devices or something. Also, it was a Sprint exclusive, but did not include WiMAX support. So you were limited to just 3G. I mostly put that in so I could reference WiMAX in 2026. Remember WiMAX? Remember the like 4G standard wars? Crazy. Wild.
The only device that's coming into my head is that random ZTE one that I cannot remember the name of. I think maybe one of the only people on the planet who would get this is Michael Fisher. I will have to concede to not knowing this for a variety of reasons.
So I think you're thinking of the ZTE Axon M.
Yes, that is what I'm thinking of.
That is from 2017.
Okay, yes.
But is very similar to the to the Kyocera device I'm describing.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot they existed. Wow, yeah.
What do you got for me? Can you get it? Can you get it with Kyocera? I haven't said what it is yet.
I would be lucky to remember a single Kyocera phone, and I cannot remember a single name from them.
This is, of course, the Kyocera Echo is the name of it. I am sending you a link again, Slack willing. There we go.
That looks exactly like the Axon.
It's very similar to the Axon M,
wow.
but just 6 years prior. There's just so they hyped this phone up like really big. I think that's why it has stuck in my memory forever, is that Sprint had like an event for this thing like 3 months before it was released, that they were like really excited about it and like really hyped it up as like the future of phones. And kind of weirdly, in a way, they were sort of right, like way too early. But I believe this device was like awful upon release, unsurprisingly. So
yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
Not very good.
Looking at it now, it looks like it would be quite bad.
Yeah, I've thought about this thing for ages though, because it was such a like swing and a miss. But I appreciated the swing, even today. I appreciate, maybe more so today. I appreciate the swing.
No, but it is quite literally. It's the ZTE Axon M. Yeah, 6 years early, which in itself was the Surface Duo,
of course,
however many years early.
Yeah, I when I pulled this up, I immediately thought of the Surface Duo, obviously, before the Axon M. Although that was a poll that you threw to me that I would not have remembered.
That's when you said it, I was like, that's the first thing coming to mind. But I know it had a bigger display than that.
Say whatever you will about any foldable today, or even any foldable from like 3 years ago. The fact that this thing was 17 millimeters thick is crazy. Like truly some of the like the side angles on this thing, it's like a laptop. It's so bulky. I can't imagine putting this thing in your pocket, let alone carrying it around.
Okay, you say that, but to be fair, the original Galaxy Fold was 15.5 millimeters thick.
And I didn't use that one. I didn't use it until
tried it. It was insane.
The first one I had was the Fold 4, which I want to say was like 13, 14 millimeters.
Oh God, that's right. I forgot okay. No, so now I'm remembering. The Fold 2 was 17 millimeters at its thickest point.
Really?
I bought that phone, and yes, it was crazy. I forgot it was 17 at its thick. It was like a wedge.
Of course, they had the gaps through the 5. So, 1, 2, 3, 4 had gaps. I mean, wow. I just can't, like, the Galaxy Z Fold 4 was too thick for me to carry around. I don't remember what that phone was at its thickest point. Too thick. It was too thick. But you could have had that experience in 2011 if you were a Sprint customer who didn't care about WiMAX or good phones for that matter.
Yeah, you going beyond my like actual active memory.
Well, Ben, this is what you get for shit talking my game in a group chat. I'm just kidding, Ben. You were very nice about the game, but you were doing so well. At one point, you called your shot with like, I think I had read like the release date, and you were like, just putting this in here, and you were right. And I think it was the Galaxy Alpha, and I was so mad.
It was the Galaxy. You said the release date and the screen size, and I paused the podcast and sent that message.
Well, I had to come back and just prove that I could.
No, that's fair.
Run circles around you.
That is fair.
I didn't keep track of your points. I don't remember what you got. But,
none. I got none of these.
0 points. Close enough.
I got
you basically
on
got
two
the
of them.
Axon. Yeah, you're right there. I'll give you 1 point as a charity point.
I would be curious to know if anyone got that phone, because
I made that one a little unfeasible, kind of on purpose, but
I can't imagine anyone has, including ZTE, has thought of that phone in like the past 5 years.
I will say Scout's Honor. So not the Echo. The Echo is just burned into my brain, but the Axon 7 and the Droid DNA I got just by searching best phones of the year that they, so like best phones 2012, which is why I found your Axon 7 mention in a 2016 July 2016 buyer's guide on the site, is because it came up when I searched best phones 2016. So you know, like they're out there, they're floating around, they're in, you know, they weren't no name devices.
Yeah, no,
but
seeing it, I remember it clearly. But yeah, that is not not exactly something that
no,
the memory
front of mind
can find.
Ben, thank you for playing my impossible game and for coming on, even though you're still very tired, to talk about Mobile World Congress. I appreciate you suffering through 2 weeks of awful travel, because you also stop me if I should say this, but you basically went from Galaxy Unpacked to, with a very quick pit stop at your house, to Mobile World Congress, and then to London for another event, and then back home.
I went Samsung on a Monday evening, came home on Thursday, got home Thursday morning, left Friday at morning, went to Barcelona, and then Thursday in Barcelona went to London, Wednesday in Barcelona went to London, and then Friday came home. And you know,
stuck in Atlanta.
I got home on Saturday because of that ridiculous hailstorm. Which, if you want to know more about that, just look up Atlanta hailstorm, and you'll find probably the video I posted of it, because it was ridiculous. I was in Atlanta longer than I was on the flight back from London.
If you're watching the video version, I'll put a clip of Ben's video right here, because it's crazy. Ben, people can find you at 9 to 5 Google, but where else do you want people to go to find your stuff?
Just at Nexus Ben on everything else, Twitter, Threads, Instagram. You know, I post occasionally.
There we go. And on Reddit on the r/Delta. Yeah, just going viral. Ben, thank you so much. We'll have you on again soon.
Yeah, thanks. I've enjoyed being on it and enjoy listening to all the other episodes.
You got to listen to this one back. Get used to the sound of your own voice. That'll do it for this week's Sideload. Thank you again to Ben for walking me through a virtual tour of Mobile World Congress. I feel like I was there myself. You can find, rate, and review us on the podcast platform of your choice. Subscribe to 9 to 5 Google on YouTube if you haven't already. And share the show with a friend if you enjoyed it. Always love hearing about new people finding the podcast. As always, you can reach me at will@9to5mac.com, or find me on whatever social platform you're using. Feedback is always welcome, as are guest suggestions. And speaking of, I don't know who's on next week's episode. It'll be a surprise to both of us. So until then, we will catch you in the next one. Bye.